told you I would find you.
Some know when to quit, others don't. These actors are still taking roles they can't handle, embarrassing themselves on screen, and tarnishing legacies built over decades. Age caught up, talent faded, but they keep going. Here are 10 old actors who should retire right now. Number 10, Bruce Willis. Die Hard made him immortal. Frontotemporal dementia made him mortal again. The Willis family announced his diagnosis in 2023, finally explaining what fans had been whispering about for years. Something was clearly wrong. The problem isn't that he got sick. The problem is what happened before the announcement. Dozens of low-budget, direct-to-video films flooded streaming services between 2020 and 2022. Cosmic Sin, Apex, Corrective Measures, terrible films where Willis looked confused, forgot lines, and clearly couldn't carry scenes anymore. He was 67 when the diagnosis came, but the decline started years earlier. Reports surfaced that crews used earpieces to feed him lines because he couldn't remember them. Directors shot his scenes in single days to minimize costs. His family now says they didn't fully understand his condition at the time, but fans watched a legend deteriorate in real time across 20 forgettable movies. The retirement came too late. The damage to his legacy was already done.
One of us is not leaving this island, if you say so.
Number 9, Nick Nolte. Remember Warrior? That was 2011. Nick Nolte playing a broken-down alcoholic father, delivering a performance so raw it earned an Oscar nomination at 70 years old. That was 14 years ago, and it shows. Recent TV appearances show a man barely recognizable from his 48 H'ers or Affliction days. The voice that once commanded the screen now struggles to project. Mobility issues are visible. At 84, he's still taking small roles in projects that don't deserve him. Cameos that feel like charity work or financial necessity rather than artistic choice. From leading man to that guy who shows up for 5 minutes, Nolte's descent is painful to watch. He should have stopped after Warrior, going out on that Oscar-nominated high. Instead, he's collecting paychecks and forgettable streaming content that nobody watches and everybody forgets. Sometimes the cruelest thing Hollywood does is keep offering work.
You stop the ship! You godless son of a...
Number 8, Val Kilmer. Throat cancer took his voice. Determination brought him back. But should it have? Val Kilmer survived cancer treatment that required a tracheostomy, leaving him unable to speak naturally. He communicates through a voice box now, and it's heartbreaking. Top Gun Maverick in 2022 featured his return as Iceman, a cameo that acknowledged his condition by making his character also unable to speak normally. Respectful? Yes. Difficult to watch? Absolutely. The brief scene was moving, but it also highlighted what's been lost. Now at 65, Kilmer is using AI technology to recreate his voice for potential future projects. The technology is impressive. The necessity is tragic. He can't deliver lines the way he once did in Tombstone or Heat, where that distinctive voice defined characters. Bravery doesn't always mean continuing. Sometimes it means accepting when your instrument is broken and letting the past speak for itself.
The Navy needs Maverick.
Number 7, Brendan Fraser. Wait, Brendan Fraser? The guy who just won an Oscar for The Whale in 2023? Yes, and hear this out. Fraser's comeback story was beautiful. Hollywood exile returns, delivers devastating performance, wins Academy Award at 54. Perfect ending to a redemption arc, right? Except he didn't stop there. Post-Oscar, he's back to taking whatever comes. Killers of the Flower Moon bit part. More projects that don't match the peak he just hit. His body is destroyed from decades of doing his own stunts. He's admitted to multiple surgeries, chronic pain, physical limitations that prevent the action roles that made him famous. The question isn't whether Fraser can still act, it's whether he should. He achieved the comeback. He got the Oscar. He proved everyone wrong. Why risk diminishing that by grinding through smaller roles when his body is telling him to stop? Sometimes the smartest career move is quitting at the top. Fraser earned the right to walk away victorious. Instead, he's still here.
I need to know that I have done one thing right with my life.
Number 6, Steven Seagal, action star, Aikido master, fraudulent everything. Steven Seagal at 72 is still making action films where stunt doubles do literally everything, including walking. His direct-to-video output for the past 20 years is staggering. Dozens of films that go straight to the cheapest streaming services and international markets. Under Siege was 1992. That was 33 years ago. Since then, Siegel has gained significant weight, lost any ability to move convincingly, and embraced a bizarre persona involving Russian citizenship and claiming to be a reincarnated llama. The films keep coming anyway. Poorly lit productions where he sits behind desks, stands still while stunt doubles fight in his clothes, and delivers lines with all the energy of someone reading a grocery list. Nobody is asking for these films. Nobody watches them. Yet he keeps making them, trading on a reputation built decades ago and long since destroyed by reality. Ego, financial need, or delusion, something keeps Steven Seagal from accepting that the action star career ended when the millennium did. Retire, please. Everyone's begging you. Before we get to the top 5, let's hear from you. Do you agree with this list so far? Are we being too harsh? Or is it time for honesty? Some of these actors are legends, but does that mean they get to keep going forever? Drop a comment with who you think needs to retire most, and let us know where you're watching from. We having people tuning in from New York to Mumbai.
And I've done a lot of things that they will never let you know about.
Number 5, Chevy Chase. Difficult, abrasive, impossible to work with. Chevy Chase's reputation preceded him for decades, but talent covered the personality issues. Caddyshack, National Lampoon's Vacation, SNL in its prime. Chase was legitimately funny when it mattered. That was 40 years ago. At 81, Chase is trading on nostalgia for a career that ended during the first Bush administration. His Community appearance was supposed to be a comeback, but instead revealed an actor who couldn't adapt to ensemble work, clashed with everyone, and got written off the show. Creator Dan Harmon publicly called him out. Castmates avoided him. The comedic timing was gone. Recent years have brought occasional cameos where he shows up, references Clark Griswold, collects a check, and leaves. He's noticeably slower, physically and mentally. The sharp wit is dull. The charm is absent, and nobody in Hollywood wants to work with him anyway. Retirement isn't even a choice at this point. It's accepting what the industry already decided. Chevy Chase should stop pretending the phone is still ringing.
What?
Warning.
That can't be true. You're half white.
Nice set.
Number 4, Dustin Hoffman. 2 Oscars, The Graduate, Rain Man, Tootsie, Kramer vs. Kramer, one of the greatest actors of his generation. And at 87, he should have stopped years ago. Not just because of age, but because of what came out about him. Multiple women accused Hoffman of sexual harassment and inappropriate behavior during the Me Too movement, allegations spanning decades. His response was defensive and inadequate. Unlike some who faced consequences, Hoffman kept working, taking smaller roles but remaining active. Recent performances show a man whose energy is visibly diminished. The intensity that defined his greatest work is gone, replaced by elderly actor cameos that feel more like tributes to past greatness than actual performances. At nearly 90, working not because he has something to say, but because he doesn't know what else to do. Between the allegations and the age, Hoffman should have stepped away gracefully years ago. Instead, he's still here, diminished in every way, letting every new minor role remind audiences of both what he was and what he became. Some legacies are better preserved in memory than damaged by continued presence.
I took my hand out of my pocket and said, and thank you. I basically was apologizing for being...
Number 3, Harrison Ford. He's Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones, Han Solo, Jack Ryan, the reluctant hero who defined a generation of action cinema. At 82, he's still trying to be that guy, and it's getting painful to watch. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny in 2023 was a box office disappointment that showed exactly why this needed to stop. CGI de-aged Ford for the opening, making the rest of the film's elderly Indy even more jarring by comparison. He could barely do the stunts. The energy wasn't there. Watching him try to recapture 1981 magic at 80 years old felt like watching your grandfather insist he can still dunk a basketball. Captain America: Brave New World puts him in the MCU as Thunderbolt Ross in 2025. More action scenes, more physical demands on a body that survived multiple plane crashes and decades of injuries. He doesn't need the money. He doesn't need to prove anything. But he keeps taking roles written for men half his age. Voice work? Perfect for him. Producing? Well, he'd be great. Mentoring young actors? Absolutely. But carrying action franchises at 82? It's not courage, it's stubbornness. Harrison Ford should retire before someone gets hurt. Probably him.
The earth moved. The angels wept. Polaroids are
Number 2. Sylvester Stallone. Rocky, Rambo, The Expendables. Sylvester Stallone built a career on physical intensity and never learned when to stop. At 78, he's still making action films, still pretending his body can do what it did in 1982, and still making the same movie over and over with worse results each time. Multiple surgeries, decades of admitted steroid use, a body that's been put through hell and looks it. Yet Expendables 4 came out in 2023, another tired retread of aging action stars pretending CGI and stunt doubles can hide reality. The film bombed. Critics savaged it. Audiences stayed away. But Stallone has more projects announced. The irony? When he played old Rocky in Creed, acknowledging age and stepping back, it worked beautifully. That's the path he should have followed. Instead, he keeps trying to be 1980s Stallone in a 2025 body that can't cash the checks his ego keeps writing. Every new action film damages the Rocky and Rambo legacies a little more. Every shaky fight scene, every obvious stunt double, every moment where the camera has to hide his limitations. Stallone should have retired a decade ago. At 78, he's destroying everything he built by refusing to accept that even Italian stallions get old.
I'm gonna hurt you real bad.
Number 1. Liam Neeson. I have a very particular set of skills. That line from Taken in 2008 launched a second career for Liam Neeson at 56. Action hero, tough guy, the older man who can still kick ass. 17 years later at 72, he's made the same movie approximately 47 times. And it needs to stop. Retribution, The Marksman, Blacklight, Memory, Absolution. Generic action thrillers that all blur together, all feature Neeson doing the exact same character, all look cheaper and more tired with each entry. He can't fight convincingly anymore. The stunt doubles are obvious, the plots are interchangeable, and the box office keeps declining. This is Liam Neeson, Schindler's List. Michael Collins, one of the finest dramatic actors of his generation, reduced to direct-to-streaming action films that nobody remembers a week after watching. His agent keeps booking them. He keeps showing up. The quality keeps dropping. Multiple projects are announced for 2025 and beyond. More of the same. More generic thrillers where a 72-year-old man implausibly beats up rooms full of younger fighters. More damage to a legacy built on powerful dramatic performances. Neeson is number 1 because he's actively making bad choices right now, with no signs of stopping. The others on this list have slowed down or been forced out by circumstances. Neeson is still grinding, still collecting paychecks, still turning out forgettable content that erases memories of his greatness one terrible film at a time. He should have stopped after the first Taken. He definitely should stop now, but he won't, and that's the tragedy.
I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.